As our friends from Rascal Flats put it, it's time for some SEC football right here on Raycom Sports. It's a big SEC West showdown. Two undefeated clubs, the Arkansas Razorbacks, the Alabama Crimson Tide. It is our all-tell game of the week from Reynolds Razorback Stadium. Should be a dynamite contest for you on this brilliant Saturday afternoon. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dave Neal. So glad you can be with us right here on Raycom Sports. Going to have a crowd around 75,000 on hand for this Arkansas-Alabama matchup. And what a few months it has been for this Alabama program. How about Nick Saban getting on the cover of Forbes magazine, the first college football coach in the history of that magazine to make the cover? Then you're talking about a real whipping of Clemson in the opening game of the season. That got him on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Then they go from the number 24 spot in the rankings all the way to number 9, and that's where they stand right now. My partner, Dave Archer, joins us here. And, well, Dave, when you talk about Alabama, you talk about Nick Saban, you're going to have to talk some defense, and this defense has come to play so far in 2008.
Yeah, and it started opening night. You mentioned the Clemson game. That was a dynamic duo of C.J. Spiller and James Davis, limited to 0 yards rushing in that football game. In fact, this team leads the nation against the run, only 42 yards a game. They're pretty solid against the pass, and salty group on defense. They got a bunch of young players, and anchored on that defensive line by Terrence Cody at the nose tackle spot.
They call him Mount Cody, and he has done everything the coaches have expected of him and then some. His task today is to slow down an Arkansas offense that has really put up some good numbers, and they're doing it behind a senior quarterback, Casey Dick, who has to be happy that Bobby Petrino is his new head coach.
It seems strange not to mention Darren McFadden or Felix Jones. They're gone. Casey Dick comes back, and he is relishing the opportunity to play in this pass-happy offense that Bobby Petrino has bought. He realized in spring he was going to get a chance to carry the load. He's worked in the weight room. He spent a ton of time getting ready to go. He's going to run the football, and he's going to throw it. He's brought his team from behind 2 consecutive weeks for touchdowns late to win football games. Casey Dick's ready to play.
Yeah, he certainly had that focus yesterday at our meetings. Well, let's talk about our focus today and our Toyota keys to the game.
Talk about that defense and Nick Saban. What they want to do is bring pressure, and they'll need to. With all these different looks that Coach Petrino's going to bring them, they'll need to dial up some pressure to put some pressure on Casey Dick. And for Arkansas, they'll have to counter that. You got to play great, solid offensive line play, find those blitzes, find those stunts, and give your quarterback a chance to make some plays.
Well, the third member of our team with us once again, as he always is, Dave Baker's down on the field. Let's check in with him.
Hey, Dave, besides 2 great programs, great atmosphere, I think 2 of the best coaches in college football at creating matchup. Nick Saban's a guy that does it with a lot of different looks on defense, and Bobby Petrino has long been known as one of the game's outstanding play callers. Going to be interesting to see what those 2 do in the sideline chess match today to try to get their playmakers in position to make big plays.
Alabama won the toss, Buzz. They will receive. Arkansas in their home red jerseys. Jeremy Davis will kick it off. It's a little pooch kick that hits at the 20. Out to the 25, to the 30-yard line goes Mike McCoy, and that is where Alabama will take over. Take a look at our offense today for this Alabama team, and Dave Archer, Glenn Coffey will get the early call at running back.
We'll see a number of players at the tailback spot. Coffey's an all-around back, can run it and catch it. You'll see Mark Ingram there as well. Antoine Caldwell, we'll see 2 of the best centers in the country. Antoine Caldwell, one of those. He anchors a real good, strong Alabama offensive line.
First call is to Coffey. Right off left guard, out over the 45 to the 46-yard line. Dallas Washington drags him down, but a first down for the Tide.
Now, we talked about this offensive line, Dave. You see Caldwell, Marlon Davis getting blocks through the middle, and there's Coffey in the secondary for Arkansas. They're going to try to wear down a little bit smaller defensive front.
John Parker Wilson, the senior out of Hoover, Alabama. He has had a nice career against the Hawks, 570 yards through the air. We'll throw it here. That pass is caught to the tight end, Nick Walker. That is his 12th grab of this young season. Take a look at this Arkansas defense, and it's a young group, but very athletic.
Well, you mentioned it. It's a young group. They're a little smaller. Malcolm Shepard, one of the seniors up front, is a guy that'll anchor that front. Jerry Franklin, a true freshman at linebacker. They think he's going to be one of the great ones that ever play at Arkansas. Jamar Love, a little bit more seniority in the secondary, although Ellen Ford is a true freshman.
Elton Ford out of Alpharetta, Georgia. Handoff left side. Glenn Coffey stopped shy of the first down. That'll bring up a 3rd and 2 for the Alabama Crimson Tide, a team that has been very good on 3rd down conversions. This is a team that is 3rd down conversions 54.8%. That is first in the league, 9th in the country.
Defensive coordinator Willie Richardson.
Willie Robinson from the city.
Willie Robinson.
3rd down and 4. Nearly picked off, and the Hogs hold.
Dave, you talk about making plays on conversion down situations. Not a lot of pressure, but a good job in the secondary of watching the quarterback's eyes and breaking the ball. John Parker Wilson locked on to his receiver there, and Jamar Love comes underneath to knock it away.
P.J. Fitzgerald will punt it away. The junior out of Coral Springs, Florida, averaging 39.2 yards per punt on 9 kicks this year. And Arkansas will have to take a timeout. Only 10 players for the Hogs on the field. We'll take the timeout as well. Back in a moment. Calling the Hogs here in Fayetteville. We are scoreless, 13:09 to go in the opening quarter. Arkansas to take a timeout, only had 10 men on the field. So P.J. Fitzgerald will now punt it away. Jarrell Norton stands back at the 10. And a flag comes down. Arkansas runs into the punter, and a flag came down. And that will be a first down for the Crimson Tide. They will get the football back.
Number 9 of the defense. 5-yard penalty results in first down.
But Dave, this is a punt that Arkansas should block. They've got it dialed up. The pressure's perfect. And instead of going to the football, he went to the leg. You got to go where the football's going to be. And the ball actually goes underneath the Arkansas rusher. Yeah. He was there to make the block and just missed the ball.
It's almost like Elton Ford didn't even lay out. He was there. That was a bizarre play from Elton Ford, the true freshman out of Alpharetta. So Alabama with an early break. They will have the ball at the Arkansas 42.5-yard line. 3 receivers set, 2 to the top, 1 to the near side. Wilson will throw. Pressure comes. Hit as he throws. Off the fingertips of Mays inside the 5. But John Parker Wilson got hit hard right as he threw the football.
Dave, you're going to see Jericho Nelson's going to come right there, number 31. Watch him fight off the block of the running back and get in the face of John Parker Wilson, which forced Parker Wilson to get rid of the ball quicker than he wanted to. And he could not get the ball on his receiver. Had he had time to set his feet, that probably was an Alabama touchdown.
Here's Coffey off the right side. He will pick up 7 on the play.
Now for Arkansas to be successful on defense, their linebackers have to flow and stay off of blocks. This time Alabama does a nice job of getting to the second level and getting those linebackers blocked. Dave, nice pickup on first down. That's what they'd like to see, or second down. That's what they'd like to see out of this running game. 5-6 yards a pop.
You know, Alabama, when you talk to the Arkansas get to that point in just a minute. Coffey dives forward. He needed to get to the 32-yard line.
That's a good individual run by Glenn Coffey to make the Arkansas defender miss in the backfield and get upfield and get the first down.
They will bring the change in, which will give me an opportunity to talk about, we talked to Willie Robinson about Alabama. They've been so good on third down conversions, and he says it really wasn't about first down for them. They've been really strong on second down, getting to, picking up 6-7 yards on second down, allowing them to have third 2 to 4 yards.
Yeah, there's so much conversation about first down and success on first down that Alabama's made up for that with their efforts on second down, and the Coffee individual effort is enough to give Alabama the first down.
A young team like this Arkansas club, you could also say a young team about Alabama as well, but you see the Woodman scores up in your upper right-hand portion of the screen. But, both these clubs are playing double-digit freshmen, true freshmen, as many as 15 for each team. I've been doing this for 10 years. I've never heard of that.
Says a lot about the staffs on both these teams.
Here's John Parker Wilson. Over the middle, passes caught inside the 10, down to the 6-yard line goes Earl Alexander, the sophomore out of Phoenix City, Alabama. Isaac Madison brings him down, but it'll be first and goal for the Tide.
An outstanding job this time by John Parker Wilson. He gets the ball out, puts it on the money, and Earl Alexander does a good job of holding his route wide so the safety couldn't get him over to make the play. He got to the inside shoulder of the corner, and an excellent throw by John Parker Wilson.
26-yard pitch and catch. Alabama knocking on the door. Ingram gets the handoff down to the 2, maybe the 1-yard line. That'll bring up second down. Time for our Honda Red Zone for the ultimate tailgating experience. That was last week. They had 9 possessions inside the 20, came up with 5 touchdowns. Certainly like to have that percentage a little bit higher. 3 tight ends in the game for the Tide. They'll work the left side. Ingram driving, touchdown Alabama. The 4th rushing touchdown of the season for the freshman out of Flint, Michigan.
Well, when they need a yard, they're going to get in behind the big fella, Andre Smith, the All-SEC offensive tackle, number 71. He does a nice job of turning the Arkansas defender to the inside. See big number 71 there. Andre Smith does an outstanding job of providing just enough room for the touchdown.
Lee Tiffin on for the point after. Snap is good, hold is good, and the kick is even better. So Arkansas runs into the kicker, giving Alabama an extra opportunity, and they take advantage. We will return to Arkansas after a word from your local stations. Take a look at our Texas Pete scoring drive. 71 yards, 4 minutes and 20 seconds. How about this? That is the 8th drive this year for Alabama offensively that has been 10 plays or more.
And you really got to call that a turnover by the Razorbacks to run into the kicker at midfield and give Alabama another opportunity, Dave.
Lee Tiffin will kick it off. Down to the 9-yard line goes Dennis Johnson. Johnson taken down at the 22-yard line. Take a look at this Arkansas offense, and Michael Smith returned to the field 2 weeks ago. His first outing brought back some of the running game with him.
And they needed it. Coach Petrino loves to run the football. Everybody talks about his passing game, but he likes to have that running game. And hey, how about Jonathan Lewis?
Yes.
He is as solid as it gets. Remington winner, trying to come back. No one has ever won the Remington 2 years in a row. He's trying to get that done.
And how about Casey Dick's numbers? 55% completion percentage, 57 a year ago. He's up over 60 this year. Boy, his confidence from last year to this year is off the charts.
Through the roof. Excited to come and play every week.
An empty set for Casey Dick. He will keep it for a gain of about 1.5 yards, perhaps. And so much attention has been focused on this matchup in the middle. Lewis against Mount Cody. And right out of the gate, they go nose to nose.
Yeah, great job there by Lewis to keep him off the quarterback. Now, that was a ball that had to come out quicker from Casey Dick's hands. That's not what Lewis is expecting for his quarterback to hold the football that long.
Nickel package defensively for Alabama. Here's Casey Dick looking for his tight end, but will take the route out the 35-yard line. Lucas Miller with the catch. Justin Woodall, the safety, with the tackle, and that'll move the sticks for Arkansas. Let's take a look at this Alabama defense.
Well, Dave, we've talked about the big fella in the middle, and what he does is he creates opportunities for these guys. He eats up people. Rolando McClain, really the returning guy in there with a lot of young people around him. And Javier Arenas, you know about his return abilities, but he's a pretty solid corner as well.
1st and 10, inside handoff, Michael Smith. Michael 5'7", 175. The question on him is basically how much can he handle? Not a big guy, not a 200-pounder, 210-pounder. Got a little winded 2 weeks ago, was suspended in the first game, so his first action was 2 weeks ago. And now he's got to meet this physical Alabama defense today.
And in being out for a week, I think he got a little out of shape, Dave. I think he missed that week. He wasn't up to speed, game speed. I think Coach Petrino realized how much he can use his running back.
Joe Adams moved to the slot at the top. Anthony Curtis in the backfield along with Michael Smith. Pass goes to Smith. He's in Alabama territory, knocked out of bounds at the 41-yard line. That'll be a first down. Johnson knocks him out of bounds, but it's a Hog first down.
2 passes off the boot. Both have been very successful. Little toss fake to the inside, and now Casey's out on the edge. He finds his back out in the flat, Michael Smith. And Smith, an outstanding receiver as well as a runner. So they're doing a good job of getting Casey Dick away from any kind of pressure and getting him out on the edge.
On 1st and 10, they'll swing it out to Joe Adams. Joe trying to break a couple of tackles, can't do it, but a flag comes in. It's in that area where sometimes you may get that hold against a wide receiver. And you get locked up in the open field.
Block in the back. Offense number 2. 10-yard penalty for the previous spot. Repeat first down.
Time now for our Polaris Ranger, hardest working player of the game, and well, we're going to go with Jonathan Luigs. And by the way, we pronounced it for a while as Luigs, but after talking to him yesterday, and he didn't mind, said we could still call him that, but he wants to go with Luigs now, the original pronunciation.
Well, and he's the QB that's helped made this transition from Coach Petrino's offense, where they have a lot of multiple sets, throw the football. Luigs is the guy in there that had to do a lot of retraining his mind a little bit, find protection, get sure that everybody's dialed up protection-wise. He's a solid player.
Loose football, but Casey Dick able to fall on top of it. You know, so much emphasis has been put on Jonathan in this offensive line coming in under Bobby Petrino's system, but you know, he's trying to go back-to-back in terms of the Remington Award.
Never been done, Dave. Never been done before. And of course, the guy on the other side of the ball, Antoine Caldwell, trying to take it away from him. But Luigs, he is a guy that's going to obviously play at the next level for a long time.
Which is probably why he wants his name pronounced correctly. Let's start now. That's what he's saying. Casey Dick, trouble coming, gets the pass off, incomplete. Now to bring up a 3rd down, and 21 to go.
Good decision by Casey to throw the football away. You want to minimize damage. You're already in a bad situation with the penalty. Bobby Greenwood with the pressure on the quarterback, threw the ball away. Now this is where Coach Petrino likes to dial up a little screen pass, something that's fairly safe, and get one of his playmakers the ball in space.
So 3rd and 21. Across the middle, pass is dropped. Intended for Lucas Miller, and Alabama holds. Javier Arenas in on the coverage for the Crimson Tide, so the Arkansas punt team comes out.
Now we talked to the Arkansas's offensive group, and they say a lot of man coverage from Alabama underneath. Outstanding coverage that time to get the ball out. But what Arkansas did do on offense is they flipped the field, and they're able to they're going to try to pin Alabama deep, but Mr. Excitement's deep.
Javier Arenas, for a career averaging 13.4 yards a return. This season he's at 23.1. That is 7th in the country. Already has a return for a TD. Arenas will field it at the 11. Get hit there, bounce around, and good coverage by Arkansas. And an excellent kick from Jeremy Davis over to the near sideline.
You said it, Dave. A great kick. Whenever you can force the returner outside the numbers, it narrows the field down so your coverage unit can get there. Outstanding kick.
So Alabama leads 7-0. They'll have the football when we come back. Alabama 7, Arkansas nothing. A couple of undefeated teams. Although Arkansas has had to work hard for their 2 victories, come from behind, fourth quarter, last minute wins. Alabama, of course, opened the year with that thrashing of Clemson that kind of grabbed the attention of the entire college football nation. In the open field, Glenn Coffey being chased down to the 20, to the 10. Touchdown, Alabama. 87 yards. Wow.
Glenn Coffey does an outstanding job of cutting back. We talked about that left side of the Alabama offensive line, Mike Johnson, Andre Smith, and then once he creased the backside, there was nobody home. And about Coffey's stamina to get in the end zone from 80 yards.
Tiffin with the point after. It is up, and it is good. Glenn Coffey with his first rushing touchdown of the season, 87 yards, showing some electrifying speed. Bama leads it by 2 touchdowns. Back after a word from the SEC. 87 yards for Glenn Coffey, giving Alabama the 2-touchdown advantage. That didn't take long. Kickoff hits at the 11. It's Dennis Johnson. Bouncing around. Johnson. Nifty footwork. They'll say he's out of bounds, though, back at the 27-yard line. But let's go back to that touchdown. And boy, nice job on the left side of that line.
Yeah, Dave, I want you to watch these guys right here. This is Smith, that's Johnson, that's Travis McCall, the tight end. Watch him seal the backside, run to daylight. There's the daylight, outstanding cut. And up the field he goes. There's Antoine Caldwell, number 59. We talked about how great a center he is. Takes the middle linebacker Franklin out of the play. Zone blocking, run to daylight. Outstanding job by Coffey to find that backside cutback crease.
That touchdown run ties for the 4th longest in the history of Alabama football. So now Casey Dick really has his work cut out for him here. Down 2 touchdowns. He will throw it over the middle. Incomplete. Pressure coming from the Alabama group, and they send Arenas in on a little corner blitz. He's causing some havoc, but Alabama has been very good out of the gates this year. With these 2 scores today, it's 57-0 in the first quarter against the opposition.
Unbelievable. A lot of that is obviously the offense putting points on the board. The defense, only 1 offensive touchdown thus far this season against this Alabama defense.
Yielding a total of 7.7 points per game so far, which is 4th in the Southeastern Conference. Michael Smith nowhere to go.
That's a good job by this Alabama front, but it looks like the back makes the wrong cut. There's a crease back to the backside. Arenas is coming in from the cornerback spot, but I like that matchup if I'm a running back against the corner a little better than I do like against Josh Chapman, the middle, the nose guard.
So you can see our Academy Sports down and distance marker. 3rd and 11.
A lot of confusion in Arkansas's backfield right now. They were confused on the first play of this drive.
So more pressure coming. Pass incomplete over the middle. Looking for Jarius Wright, the true freshman out of Warren, Arkansas. And the Hogs will have to punt. And this Alabama defense really putting the heat on Bobby Petrino's offense.
Well, a lot of confusion. The first play in the series, he changed the play. You see Coach Petrino now talking to his offensive group, trying to get Smith, the running back, and Casey Dick, the quarterback, on the same page. But a lot of confusion.
So Jeremy Davis will stand at the 12-yard line. Javier Arenas back to return the punt. He's at the 30. End over end, wobbly kick. Arenas will have some room to field and look. Dancing around. Arenas to midfield. Dodging some Arkansas defenders. Nice return out across the midfield stripe. And boy, is he an electrifying punt return man. One of the best in the entire country. And of course, he set an Alabama punt return record against Tulane earlier this month. The junior had 147 yards, including an 87-yard touchdown return. He broke the great Harry Gilmer's record of 122 yards set way back in 1947. 4 punt returns for a touchdown, tied with David Palmer for the Alabama career record. Palmer actually had 5. We got to give him his props. He actually had 1 in a bowl game, but back then they didn't count bowl games in your stats. So I'll give Palmer a little bit of love. Play action. John Parker Wilson all day to throw. Going to the near side, looking for Jones, nearly picked off. And Arkansas desperately could use a turnover, something they have not acquired all season.
Yeah, they've dropped a number of interceptions. The ball was on the ground 6 times in their first couple of games. Haven't been able to get on. Good job. Ball thrown a little behind Julio Jones there. Ed Marquise Johnson wide open. Didn't throw it to him.
Nick Saban told us in our meetings that he has really been impressed with John Parker, and you mentioned it in our pregame show. His management skills have been impeccable to this point. And you were telling me that, you know, that's a word that gets thrown around a lot, but under Nick Saban, that's a word that really means something.
Well, it's become kind of a bad way of describing a quarterback, because every time you say he managed the game well, it means he can't play the game, and that's not true at all. It tells you a little bit about the cerebral ability of a quarterback to take care of the football and make sure he's distributing to the people around him. John Parker Wilson's got a ton of playmakers around him.
Coach Saban simply said to us, in terms of who gets the football, he says, we're just going to give it to the best guy we got. That's our goal.
There's a bunch of them, too.
On 3rd down, Wilson will throw it out of bounds, and that'll bring up a 4th down situation. Pressure came from Leandre, excuse me, and that'll force a punting situation for the Tide.
Great coverage down the field by the Razorbacks. That time Elton Ford, the true freshman, was locked on the other true freshman, Julio Jones, and he was his shadow all over the field. That's where John Parker Wilson wanted to go. An outstanding job in the secondary of Arkansas.
Our 1st and 10 line brought to you by IKBI Incorporated. IGBI, building vision, building relationships. Fitzgerald. Norton takes it at the 10. It's up about 5 on that return. Well, we haven't seen it yet today, but this Bobby Petrino offensive system has been very successful. You look at his numbers when he was the head man at Louisville. In 2006, they rang up 539 yards a game and almost 50 points every time they took the field.
And look at the progression on there, Dave. It got better and better each year, and I think that's what you're going to see here at Arkansas. As he gets more and more of these younger players some seasoning, they're going to see the numbers go way up. Let's go down to Dave Baker.
You know, Arch, this is one of those situations where Bobby Petrino's experience is going to come in. I'll pick it up after this play.
Little play fake to Smith. Casey Dick has some time. He will throw it near side. Pass is incomplete. He was looking for London Crawford, but he was out of bounds. Buzz, we'll get to you in just a second. Take one more look at this, and you be the judge at home.
Just got the ball to him a little bit late, Dave, and yes, the foot is on the line. Let's go down to Dave Baker.
Arch, the thing about it is that this is a worst-case scenario for Bobby Petrino. He was trying to dictate what Nick Saban would do defensively with his offensive sets, but now what's happened, they had it going pretty well. They get the roughing the kicker. They give up 2 quick touchdowns, and normally, you know, you would be inclined to go ahead and try to get something back really quick, but Petrino is experienced enough where he knows if he can be patient, he can work his way back into it.
That handoff to Smith, not much happening there.
Well, and I think it's a good point that Buzz makes, and he's got a senior quarterback as well, which, you know, that should be a steadying influence on a young football team, that he can transmit that through his quarterback to his team and say, hey, wait a minute, this is early. We're down 14-0, but it's early.
It was almost a mutual admiration society, with Bobby Petrino admiring what Nick Saban does defensively and what Nick Saban was saying about Bobby Petrino's offense. They both really admire what they do in terms of their specialties. 5 receiver set, empty backfield. Casey Dick on 3rd down has Crawford. Did he get the first down? I believe he will. Johnson and Jackson converge on the stop, but that'll move the chains for the Hogs.
Dave, this is a guy that they thought would catch the ball a little more for him. London Crawford, he's a junior. The kid from Mobile, Alabama, does a great job of catching the football and getting the first down. Davidson High School, Mobile, Alabama, came over here to play with the Razorbacks.
And Paul Petrino, the offensive coordinator, younger brother of Bobby, was telling us that they need London Crawford to be a factor. Gave him about 3 on the play for Michael Smith. Orlando McClain brings him down, his 2nd stop today. The sophomore out of Decatur, Alabama. Boy, do I like him as a football player.
Orlando McClain, and then we talked about him with Dante Hightower, the freshman that's in there with him, and he's kind of the big brother. The sophomore has become the big brother, and he's done a nice job of kind of bringing on Dante Hightower at that other middle backer spot.
23 tackles in the young season for McClain. Casey Dick over the middle, wide opens his tight end DJ Williams, and that's a first down for Arkansas at the 43-yard line. The crowd's starting to make some noise now as the Hogs have gotten out of some trouble.
That's an excellent read by Casey Dick, because he sees both middle linebackers come and vacate the middle of the field. And his big target, the tight end over the middle, DJ Williams, does a good job of finding the hole. Casey Dick, it looks to me, Dave, in this now, we're in this part of the game, has settled into the game a little bit. A little confusion early. Alabama did a nice job of creating some problems with them, but they've settled in a little bit into the game.
Williams in motion. Handoff right side. Michael Smith stays on his feet inside Alabama territory. Close to the first down. Javier Arenas brings him down.
Now, Michael Smith's only 5'7", 175 pounds, but he runs like he's 220 pounds here. He blows through several tackles there. And you got to have some guys up front. There's DJ Williams, 45. The tight end gets the edge sealed. Michael Smith gets right in behind that block. Good job by the big tight end.
First down and 10 Arkansas. They will work out of the shotgun. That handoff goes to DeAnthony Curtis, the true freshman out of Camden, Arkansas.
Casey Dick actually turns the wrong way on this play. He's waiting to give it to the other back, and he slid out there to block, so he turns around, and there's DeAnthony Curtis. Okay, I'll give it to you. And a nice pickup.
See our Woodman scoreboard up in the upper right. Penn State out to an early start. Mississippi State beat up pretty good by Georgia Tech. A little ACC-SEC matchup. Here it's Alabama 14, Arkansas nothing. 1:10 to go in the opening quarter. Casey Dick will fire, picked off. Arenas down to the 20, has Casey Dick to beat. He will take it to the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama.
It's a simple matter of the receiver and quarterback being on the wrong page here. He's expecting his receiver to step outside. He stepped to the inside, and Javier Arenas is, well, nobody going to catch Javier Arenas. He returns punts for this football team. He's going to get in the end zone. But once a receiver step to the inside, the ball's thrown to the outside. And Javier Arenas just kind of a Sunday hop there.
One after, up and good. 63 yards on the interception return by Arenas. That might be his easiest touchdown he'll score all season. 21-0 Alabama with 53 seconds to go in the opening quarter.
Now, Dave, that's a double take the air out of you on that one.
Well, fans, get your cell phones ready. Today we are introducing a new interactive feature called the Alltel Text Station. We want your answer to this question. Pretty simple. Which team will win the game? Well, you've already spotted Alabama 21. Text your answer to S1 or S2 to 55333. We'll update the results later in the show. Now remember, Arkansas nearly stole the show last year. They rallied from 2 21-point deficits and finally fell in the closing seconds in one of the great games of the season.
No question about it. And this team this year has come back from double-digit deficits in the fourth quarter to win games. Now, granted, it was not the Crimson Tide had them down, but that was a classic example of a quarterback and receiver not being on the same page. And Dave, you got a drive going like that for Arkansas, so all of a sudden your emotions a little bit higher than they normally would be, and then the interception doubly hits you, taken back for a touchdown.
So, not that I like to put blame anywhere, but I mean, is that a bad cut by the receiver? Is it a bad read by the quarterback? I mean, where do you go with that? How do you not make that happen again?
Well, what you do, you go over the sideline, and first of all, you don't lay any blame on anybody. What you do is you just try to calm the waters a little bit and don't call that play again.
In the open field goes Dennis Johnson. He's to midfield and brought down there. So now Arkansas back to where they were just moments ago. Robbie Green, the true freshman from New Orleans, brings him down, but a big return.
Now, Dave, here's the receiver up here in question. He's going to come up, collision the defensive back, and he's going to offset to the inside. Casey Dick expects him to offset outside. And the reason he thinks it should be outside is because Javier Arenas comes from the inside from the defensive back spot to take away that inside cut. He's expecting his receiver to step away from the defender. Instead, he fought across his face, and classic example of two guys on the wrong page.
44 seconds to go, opening quarter. Casey Dick being chased. Pass is caught by Lucas Miller.
Now, one thing you can do, Dave, is this thing 21-0. Now is Coach Petrino. He's trying to find something they can hang their hat on. They had a nice drive going prior to the interception on the last one. Get back to doing some of those things and just chalk that one up for experience, the interception.
That'll do it for the first quarter. Casey Dick was checking off the line of scrimmage, and that ends the first 15 minutes of play, which was dominated by the Tide. Alabama comes on the road, putting on a pretty good show through the first 15 minutes. They lead Arkansas 21-0. Going on today on a gorgeous day here in the Ozarks.
That's where Dave Baker is right now.
We haven't heard from him in a while. Here's Michael Smith, turns the corner, first down. Got walloped by Javier Arenas and Justin Woodall, but a first down for Arkansas. Take a look at our AT&T first quarter statistics. You see the rushing yards, 114 of those by Glenn Coffey and 87 of those on the touchdown run. By the way, Casey Dick, 4 out of 10 with an interception. John Parker Wilson, 2 out of 6 throwing the football. Trying to set up a little screen. They do so to DeAnthony Curtis. Johnson with a good defensive play for the Tide. That'll bring up a second down.
That was a great play in the flat by the corner to play off the block. Arkansas had a big offensive lineman out in front. Did a good job playing off the block and making the play. I think the Razorbacks need to keep doing what they've done the last 2 drives to get something in the end zone. Just continue. They obviously got to convert on 3rd down, but take care of the football. Blitz look here now by Alabama.
Second down and 7. Little shovel pass on the inside. The Tide had it read from the get-go. Brandon Fanti, the junior out of Morristown, Tennessee, all over it. Greg Childs had no chance.
This was a check-off play by Casey Dick. When he saw the blitz look, he checked to the shovel pass. Alabama backed out of the blitz look. So there's that chess game going on between Coach Petrino and Coach Saban.
So that loses 3, and that brings up a 3rd down and 10. Arkansas on 3rd downs this year, 54%. They've been pretty good themselves. They're 2nd in the league, only trailing Alabama. And they will pick up another one here. They go to the steady tight end, DJ Williams, who leads this team in receptions with a dozen now.
That's a tough matchup for Rolando McClain. And let's look at protection first. 5-man rush. Great job of shutting down the rush, giving their quarterback a nice comfort zone in the pocket to throw it. And the big tight end gets open. One-on-one coverage against Rolando McClain, the middle linebacker. That's his comfort guy, Dave. When it really comes down to needing to make a play, he tries to find DJ Williams.
Williams had 5 catches, 124 yards, 2 TDs versus Louisiana Monroe. Pretty good for your tight end. Hogs will throw it again. This pass is caught by London Crawford down to the 16.5. Maybe he'll spot it at the 17-yard line.
Alabama's noted for playing a lot of man under coverage, which means they got safeties behind helping, but the rest of the defenders underneath are playing man coverage. And those crossing routes are designed to free people up against man coverage. That time Alabama played a zone, and it was a minimal gain that time.
2nd down and 6. 2 tight end set for the Hogs. They'll work the left side to Michael Smith, trying to get the corner, cuts it back in. He'll be about 1.5 yards shy of the 1st down. Let's go down to Dave Baker.
You know, Dave, Archer was talking a little bit about what Arkansas needs to do here. For being down 21-0, they've actually done some decent things. You know, they get a defensive stop, then they get called for running into the kicker, then they give up a jailbreak, then they make a bad read and throw a pass that goes the other way. Critically important for the confidence of Bobby Petrino's team to finish here on this drive.
His quote was this week, Buzz, we got to quit shooting ourselves in the foot. Well, they've done that here early in this game. Michael Smith met at the line of scrimmage in a big-time collision. That was Rolando McClain stepping up and laying the wood.
Well, this is what you want, Dave, from your middle linebacker. One-on-one Rolando McClain, and he dropped the hammer. Of course, we talked about Michael Smith. He's 5'7", 175 pounds, and that's a 250-pound linebacker hitting him head on.
Textbook.
That's one of the things Coach Petrino said. We just don't have the big back to give the ball to in short yardage. They've converted in short yardage the first 2 weeks of the season. They'll go for it here.
3 tight end set. On 4th down, little play action. Casey Dick will throw it. Lost it up, wide open. Tight end, Andrew Davie. Touchdown, Arkansas.
Dave, what a great call. Little play action fake to make sure that Alabama stayed around the line of scrimmage, and then send DJ Williams, your big-time receiver, through the back of the end zone and slip Davie out the backside. Easy throw for Casey Dick. Wow, great design there by Coach Petrino and a good job of execution by the Razorbacks.
Point after is up, and it is good. Well, Casey Dick with the touchdown pass. His 5th of the season, 21-7 Tide. Arkansas puts 7 on the board. 10:30 to go in the 2nd quarter. Look at our Texas Pete scoring drive. 47 yards. A little over 5.5 minutes. Jeremy Davis to kick it off. It's another pooch kick. That will come down to the 30 and Mike McCoy. And he is hit right there at the 31. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Dave, DJ Williams is the leading receiver. He's this tight end right here. He's going to get through the middle and clear it out. This is Andrew Davie. Watch the acting he does on the ground. back up. Alabama loses him in coverage, and Casey Dick puts it on.
You got to love it.
Yeah, it's a good job.
Well, Casey Dick, since that interception to Javier Arenas, is 6 out of 6. A lot of guys would go the other way.
Yeah, you got to love the way he's bounced back.
See what John Parker Wilson and this Alabama offense have in store on this drive from the 31. There's Ingram, bounces off a tackle. Ingram, first down out at the 47-yard line.
David again in behind the left side of the Alabama offensive line. We've talked about these guys a number of times. Big Andre Davis, Mike Jones, Antoine Caldwell, good job. Mark Ingram just gets in behind the big fellas and finds the crease.
Ingram has worked his way up, kind of taken over that number 2 tailback spot behind Glenn Coffey. Here's Ingram off the left side. Knocked out of bounds at the 26-yard line by Matt Harris. And once again, we sound like a broken record, but they're going off the left side of that line, and they're having tremendous success.
And why not? All SEC performer, 71. Andre Smith just turns his defender to the inside, and Caldwell just runs the daylight. I'm sorry, Ingram runs the daylight. Ingram does a great job of finding that hole behind Andre Smith.
Ingram came in averaging 5.7 yards a carry. That number will go up after today if he continues like this. This time he's been at the line of scrimmage. No missed tackle that time for the Hogs. That'll bring up 2nd down and 10. Jerry Franklin along with Elton Ford bring him down.
As Alabama gets better in running the football, Arkansas is going to commit more and more people to the line of scrimmage. Good job that time by Franklin, the middle linebacker, to be in that backside cutback hole. Ingram, no place to go.
Ingram now 6 carries, 51 yards. Glenn Coffey 5 carries, 114. Alabama averaging over 200 yards a game on the ground, 206 to be exact, 5 yards per attempt. Coffey in a tailback, but Wilson will throw it. He will loft it up out of bounds. Pressure game from Antoine Robinson. Let's go down to Dave Baker. Buzz.
You know, Dave, Alabama got in a situation there where they got behind the chains a little bit, but the one great thing that Nick Saban really likes about new offensive coordinator Jim McElwain, he's not a guy, Arch, that's caught up on X's and O's. He's going to take what the defense gives him and stick with it, and that's why up until this point they've been able to pound it up and down the field off tackle against Arkansas.
Well, that's exactly right. Take advantage of your strength, and the strength is that left side of the offensive line. They're pounding that side.
On 3rd down, Wilson over the middle, pass is caught by Jones. Touchdown, Alabama. "25 yards.
Well, Dave, whenever you have a chance to hold a football this long as a quarterback, it's all about pass protection. And they do an outstanding job of protecting their quarterback. Look how long John Parker Wilson can stand with the football and then let it go. And that, I don't care who you are, quarterback, you're going to have a chance to make a play. John Parker Wilson does an outstanding job of putting it on his young freshman receiver.
Lee Tiffin's point after is up and good. So Alabama responds to the Arkansas touchdown. They build the lead back to 21, and Julio Jones, all 6'4", 210 pounds, sticks it in the end zone. 28-7 tied. Back after a word from your local stations. On RaycomSports.com. 28-7, Alabama out in front. 8.5 minutes to go in the 2nd quarter. Lee Tiffin will kick it off. This will sail down to Elton Ford inside the 10. Ford gets a couple of blocks. That springs him free out to the 35-yard line. Don't forget, next week it's more SEC football. 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central as Ole Miss takes on Florida. The Gators, behind Heisman Trophy winner Tim Tebow, have their sights set on what else but a national title. But how about Jevon Sneed of Ole Miss? He has gotten off to a great start, the transfer from Texas. That'll be at 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central. Log on to raycomsports.com and click on the Regions Bank Road Trip Planner for the quickest routes and all the info you need traveling around the SEC. Of course, Ole Miss and Vandy playing a very meaningful game this afternoon. There are some meaningful games, I guess. Florida, Tennessee has some mistake. Maybe Auburn, LSU, or something. I don't know.
It's the SEC.
Michael Smith, they set up a screen. He's got some blockers. He's to midfield, cuts it back down to the 43-yard line. Dante Hightower runs him down, but not before a big gain down into Alabama territory.
It's a good job by the big fellas to get out in front. Wade Grayson, 71, is going to get out in front of his running back, and he's going to lead him all the way down the field. Big fella's going to get a hat on somebody there, and does a good job of creating a crease there for Michael Smith. That's when Smith is so dangerous, Dave. Not just a runner, but you get him the ball out in space.
Look at the Texas Pete scoring drive for Alabama moments ago. Just under 2 minutes, 68 yards. Big third down pass and catch to Julio Jones for the touchdown. How about Casey Dick with 7 straight completions? Trying to make it 8, can't do it. Pressure came from Arenas. Boy, he has been in that backfield a ton this afternoon.
Arenas slides from the cornerback into the nickel spot for Alabama when they go to 5 defensive backs, and that time he blitzed off the slot. Casey Dick did not see it in time because he had Andrew Davey, the tight end, open in the flat.
DeAnthony Curtis checks in. Out goes Andrew Davey for Arkansas. Play clock already down to 11 seconds. They'll try to set up another screen. Good catch by Smith. Breaks a tackle out to the 35-yard line, and he's about 1.5 yards shy. Brandon Fanny, with his 5th tackle, brings him down.
Now set up the screen. You're going to see Dante Hightower, number 30, the linebacker from Alabama, have a chance to make this play right there. But instead of wrapping up, he tried to knock him to the ground. And he'll have a conversation with Coach Saban on the film session this next week about wrapping up the play because he had it defended perfectly.
So 3rd down, call it 2. Michael Smith drives forward, loose football, it's out of bounds. They'll say he was down, though, at the 30-yard line. Good enough for an Arkansas first down. But you're right, boy. You look at Michael Smith, his numbers, 175, 5'7", but he runs. He looks like a 200-pounder.
You see Luigs does a great job on Terrence Cody. Get him turned, and then Wade Grayson, 71, got a good job of getting a hat on somebody. Ball got stripped out. But Davey, he is running hard for a smallish running back.
67 yards on the ground for Alabama. Casey Dick to fire over the middle. Well, that looked like DJ Williams. Somebody had a hold of his jersey right into triple coverage. Casey Dick trying to thread it right in there.
Well, he's asking for it, too. He's looking around, trying to find an official, see if there's something yellow laying on the ground. Boy, that was a tight window. Casey Dick tried to put that one in. We had Dante Hightower, Rashad Johnson, Justin Woodall all around DJ Williams that time.
So 2nd down and 10. Dick offs it up, looking for Crawford. Had a chance to make the play. Crowd wants a flag, and coverage by Kareem Jackson.
We saw Kareem Jackson last year, outstanding corner out on the edge. And I thought London Crawford got away with a little bit of a push-off right before the ball got there, but good job by Kareem Jackson to find the ball in the air and knock it away. Had a couple of big interceptions for this team last year. Did Kareem Jackson. 3 on the year last year, a couple against Tennessee last year.
5 receivers set on 3rd and 10. Casey Dick has some time. And that's picked off again. Justin Woodall. He has Casey Dick to beat. He does it. It'll be another interception. Return for a touchdown for the Crimson Tide. Oh, my.
This is just a ball he's trying to throw away, Dave, and he did not find an open area to throw it. Woodall just watches the quarterback all the way. Casey Dick's got nowhere to throw it, so okay, I'm not going to take a sack. Let me throw it away, and he threw it right out in the arms of Woodall. Woodall just standing out there. Threw it right to him.
His second interception of the season. That goes for 70 yards. Man, this is point after up and good. This has been a gift-wrapped 35 points for Alabama.
Yeah, it's something you don't count on, Dave. The sudden change, interception, return for a touchdown. You don't want to turn the football over, but it's going to happen in games. But you certainly don't want to turn it over for points, and Alabama's returned 2 for touchdowns.
63-yarder by Arenas, 70-yarder by Woodall. Dennis Johnson from the 2. He lost the football. It's on the ground. And Arkansas has recovered. Let's go back to that interception by Justin Woodall.
Well, let's look at this as we go down the field. Let's roll it a little bit further, fellas, and we're going to freeze it and let you know right now. Freeze it. Okay, here's covered. Here's his only guy, and this is who he's going to get to late, but it's way too late. Watch Casey Dick's feet. He never gets his feet set. Nothing on the ball. Woodall breaks on it, and the rest is history.
Justin Woodall, a guy that has kind of fought his way, the junior out of Oxford, Mississippi, into a starting role, turned down multi-million dollars to play baseball out of high school because he wanted to play college football. Casey Dick. He's got a little bit of room to run. And he will slide down at the 26-yard line.
Alabama's doing a nice job down the field. We just saw that replay of the interception, how good a job they're doing down the field, covering up the Razorback receivers. Because the Arkansas offensive line's done a nice job of providing Casey Dick an opportunity to throw it.
Here's Smith. Breaks a couple of tackles out over the 35 to the 38. First down, Arkansas.
Good job up front. Lewis blocks back, creates the hole. Mike Smith hits it quick right off the back edge of Lewis. Big pickup, first down run for Arkansas.
5:09 to go before halftime. Arkansas has moved the ball pretty well today. Big hit. Joe Adams stays on his feet. Out over the 45. Actually, they'll spot it at the 45-yard line. Give him a gain of 7 on the play. Hightower once again with another big hit.
Another true freshman. Central Arkansas Christian in Little Rock does a great job of catching the ball in the flat and bounces off and gets up the field. It's one of the guys that Coach Petrino, when he talked about his true freshman, his eyes lit up when he started talking about Joe Adams.
Yeah, he was hoping that, you know, they have 4 true freshmen that they're playing in the wide receiver core. He hopes by next year that people will be talking about that group as one of the best in the league. That's how much confidence he has in his young guys. But it will be a learning process. He did about 3.5. I think Smith got maybe a yard. Kareem Jackson will get credit for the tackle, the sophomore out of Macon, Georgia. Woodman scoreboard, Georgia Tech still out in front of Mississippi State by 21. East Carolina ranked 15th in the country. The lead over NC State. So now it's 3rd down and 2.5. Smith cuts it back, has some room. Nice stiff arm. Michael Smith inside the 30, inside the 25. What a big run. That is the longest run given up this season by the Alabama defense. Before that carry, the longest run yielded was 13 yards.
Now, he might be the 5'7", 175 pounds, but he's playing huge for this Razorback offense today. He has been the one guy they've been able really to count on to make some plays for him. Another big run that time, big stiff arm to extend the run. You mentioned it, Dave. This team has moved the football on offense. They just have not been able to get out of their own way and making mistakes.
A 30-yard pickup
Timeout, Arkansas. Their
by
second
Michael
timeout of the
Smith.
half. Be a 30-second timeout.
And with that timeout, we will step aside as well and return after this from the SEC. And of course, anybody that knows this league knows that Terry Beasley was his favorite target, much like DJ Williams is the favorite target of Casey Dick. And that's close to a first down at the 15-yard line.
Well, these guys are going to have to do a little bit more until they match up to that duo. What a great duo.
I just thought that was
Sullivan. Oh, there was a
good
great
segue.
segue. Excellent segue. Excellent segue. DJ is a big-time receiver for Casey Dick. But boy, Terry Beasley, and I remember flipping on the TV, and wherever you saw an Auburn game, it was Pat Sullivan and Terry Beasley.
Second down and about a yard to go. 2:38, the clock moves here in the second quarter. There's Smith will pick up the first down. Take a look at that red zone. Brought to you by Honda Generators.
That's the kind of percentage you're looking for right there. 7 possessions, 6 TDs. They've already scratched for 1 TD in this game. Only the second touchdown that this Alabama defense has given up on the year.
Nowhere to run. Maybe a yard or two. Boy, they're really working Michael Smith here in the first half. Brandon Fanny, by the way, with 6 tackles already here in the first half for Alabama.
And Brandon Fanny's one of those guys, Dave, that can play down as a defensive end, and he also stands up and plays linebacker in their 34 front. So he's got a lot of ability to do several things for Nick Saban and his defense.
Well, having Terrence Cody in there, along with Josh Chapman, has really freed up Nick Saban to do a lot with his fronts. Here's Casey Dick. Good protection. Pass is caught near the goal line. That should be a first down by Jarius Wright. His first catch as an Arkansas Razorback, the freshman out of Warren, Arkansas, brought down by Corey Reamer.
Well, this is another one of those kids that the Arkansas coaching staff lights up when they talk about him. Jarius Wright, he's one of those guys that they feel like here over the next couple seasons is going to be something special.
That'll set up a first down and goal situation. Off the right side. They will say no, he did not get in. Brandon Barnett checks in and takes it down to about the half-yard line.
Well, Brandon Barnett's in the game, got a little bit more size to him at 5'11", 210 pounds, as opposed to Mike Smith at 175, trying to just get a little bit more bulk to shove it in the end zone. Good job by Alabama to rise up, keep him out.
Barnett stays in at tailback. We'll get it again. Not happening this time. Clock moves at 42-41. And Arkansas will take a timeout.
Timeout, Arkansas. The third and final timeout of the half. It'll be a 30-second timeout.
Well, time to update our Alltel Tech Station poll. We're asked you which team will win this game. I gotta like the 13% that are sticking with Arkansas at 35-7.
Love that.
The loyalty. You can add your voice to the vote. Text your answer to S1 or S2 to 55333. Thanks for participating in Alltel's Text Station. Now, once again, remember, if Arkansas can stick this in, make it a 34-14 game, that's 21-point deficit. They came back from 2 of those last year. They ended up losing the game in the final seconds on a John Parker Wilson touchdown pass with 8 seconds to go. Good crowd on hand today at Reynolds Razorback Stadium. Our crystal, nothing like it. Shows you the biggest crowds at this stadium. Alabama was here in 06. Over 74,000 showed up.
Great football game that was. Alabama ended up losing that game to the Razorbacks in double overtime.
Little play action. Casey Dick rolling, firing low, incomplete. Wow, now you got 4th and goal. He was looking for Curtis, and it was down on his shoelaces.
Well, I think he throws it there on purpose, Dave. This is a throw where he can't make a mistake. He's got to be able to line up again on 4th down. Good coverage by Kareem Jackson. The corner outs there all over him. Let's go down to Dave Baker.
Arch, I think you're absolutely right about throwing the ball there. That's the only way he could stop the clock, because if you remember, they had to burn a timeout. First possession right before they got the penalty for running into the kicker.
On 4th and goal, it's Smith. He stopped, and Alabama stands tall at the goal line. Big Terrence Cody clogging up the middle.
All Cody needs to do is try to get in one of the gaps and eat up 2 of the Arkansas blockers, is which he submarines the play and takes out one of the blockers for Arkansas, and Saban loves it. But a good job by Rolando McClain, flowing off the back of the big fella, Cody, to make the play.
Cody says he's living out a dream. Can't believe this is happening to him. Just a couple of years of high school football. Went to Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College for a year. Said he never thought he would be playing for Alabama. Well, right now, Cody and company have put on a clinic. An absolute clinic in the first half. 35-7. Didn't see this coming. Let's go downstairs and check in with Dave Baker.
Nick, big plays on both sides of the football, and then that goal line stand right there at the end of half.
Well, you know, it's really important. We're not playing very well on defense. You know, we're making a lot of mistakes, making a lot of errors. They're doing a good job of confusing us out there a little bit. Lost our poise a little bit, but we made a couple big play interceptions and ran them back for touchdowns. Doing a good job of running the ball offensively, and we need to keep the ball because we're tired on defense.
All right, thanks, Nick. We appreciate it. That's Nick Saban. His Crimson Tide goes to the locker room with a 35-7 lead here at the half against the Razorbacks. Number 9, Alabama leads Arkansas by a count of 35-7. And as we take it back up to the guys in the booth, Dave Neal and Dave Archer, who'll bring you the second half of play. Bobby Petrino may have lost his appetite because his team did some great things in the first half, guys, but then they couldn't close the deal and really kicked it away a couple of times.
Yeah, you know, he told us yesterday their problem has been basically, Buzz, that they have been, you know, shooting themselves in the foot, to use a quote from him, and we saw that again. Perfect example. It's a young football team, and it's going to be certainly an uphill task from here, but Alabama, I think, you know, they were in the right place at the right time and took advantage.
Yeah, you got to take credit for it on the defensive side of the football. Yes, there were some mistakes made, but credit Alabama for cashing them in and being in the right place at the right time on both the interceptions. Alabama got off to a quick start.
And it started with Glenn Coffey, 87 yards off the left side. Nobody could catch him, and Alabama was out in front early on.
Well, this is one of the mistakes Casey Dick makes or his receiver made. They weren't on the same page. Arenas intercepts the pass and returns it for a touchdown. Never ability to recover or make a play to get the knockdown. But Casey Dick comes back, takes him down the field, puts it in the end zone. John Parker Wilson came right back and got it to his big-time freshman Julio Jones, who stuffed it in the end zone.
And basically, you know, this was the same story we've seen over and over again. An errant pass, Justin Woodall would take it 70 yards as he gets past Casey Dick. And we're left with our Infinity staffs to break this down. 167 yards on the ground. Of course, a big chunk of that coming from Glenn Coffey. And, you know, Arkansas runs 59 plays offensively.
They're moving the football against a really good defense. David just can't take care of the football.
Well, in the SEC, every yard can make a difference.
Bobby, it was a situation where you really did some good things offensively, but then a couple of big turnovers and you couldn't finish the deal at the end of the half.
Yeah, the turnovers have killed us. You know, you give them 2 touchdowns. We've been moving the ball 47 plays, got a lot of continuity going, but you can't get behind like that. You can't give them touchdowns. Defensively, we got to tackle. We got to stop their running game.
All right, thanks, Bobby. We appreciate it. That's Bobby Petrino, Dave.
What do you add to that? All you do is you attack. You can see the frustration in his face. He said when we talked to him yesterday, we cannot allow them or give them opportunities. That's what they did in the first half.
Well, if you're with us at the top of our broadcast, you saw one of the hottest acts in music, Rascal Flatts, perform their song Bob That Head from the album Still Feels Good. And fans, if you want to see a great show, then check out Rascal Flatts on tour. For complete concert listings, go to www.rascalflatts.com. Gary LaVox, Joe Don Rudy, Jay DeMarcus, all the guys will be in Knoxville, Tennessee on October 24th. We highlight that because you Alabama fans, if you have the opportunity, that's the night before Alabama and Tennessee meet on the gridiron in Knoxville. So that could be a pretty good weekend of activity. We discussed it last week. Those guys at Rascal Flatts, they've done a nice job on scheduling their tour around SEC football games.
See one of the great traditional games in SEC. I love it.
John Parker Wilson moving up career statistical lists at Alabama. You see where he is. He was tied for first coming into today with Brody Croyle, but he has surpassed him with the touchdown pass to Julio Jones back in the second quarter. So he has that all to himself now. And he has quietly gone about his business here and setting all kinds of new standards for the Crimson Tide. Look at their first half possessions. They had that 3 and out on their third possession. And then they just ran out the clock in the half when they were backed up. But a big defensive stand by Alabama's defense. But Dave Archer, we heard Nick Saban say it to Dave Baker on the way into the locker room. He's got to get his defense off the field. They've been out there for 50-some-odd plays.
Yeah, he would like to see his offense get some more snaps, and a lot of that lies on the defense. You've got to get off the field and take care of business in that third down conversion situation. They have not done that in the first half.
Kick taken by Dennis Johnson. Out to the 23-yard line. And by the way, the 35 points scored by Alabama in the first half is the most since Alabama scored 31 in the second half in a win over Utah State back in 2004. So, I mean, they're putting up some uncharted territory here in terms of points for Alabama. Now, Casey Dick and company will have to try to put together something. I mean, where do you go? I mean,
well,
what did you like about them offensively in the first half?
Well, I liked a lot of what they did. It was just shooting themselves in the foot. You said it, making bad decisions here, and they moved the ball up and down the field against a really good defense. You just get back to doing what you've been doing.
And that pass is picked off. This time it goes to Johnson, and that's the third interception of the afternoon for the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Now, London Crawford is going to run the slant route. Casey Dick's going to throw it to where his receiver's going. And Johnson just took the football away. That's one of those deals where the DB wanted a little more than the receiver did. Marquise Johnson.
Yeah, Marquise with his second interception of the season. Wow. There wasn't a whole lot of energy in this building to start the half. It's really silent now. Quentin Coffey gets a carry, gets about 4.
Well, and if you're Coach Petrino, that's kind of one of your basic plays is you run a slant route, hoping you just get a completion and get something going. And a nice play by Johnson to break in front and take it away. Well, that's one way. Nick Saban wanted his defense off the field. That's one way to get off the field.
Here's Coffey off the left side. Already with one big touchdown run, and he'll make it 2. 31 yards for Glenn Coffey.
You can guess which side of the ball they ran to. That left side, just a juggernaut over there with Antoine Caldwell. There's the big center on the Remington list, but good job of blocking. Marlon Davis pulled around, looked like, and got a block on the pulling guard spot, and then Coffey gets it in the end zone.
One after is up and good. Glenn Coffey closing in on 150 yards on the ground. He's only carried it 7 times, folks. 42-7 Alabama. 7 Alabama out in front after a 31-yard touchdown run from Glenn Coffey. 148 yards on the ground now. Lee Tiffin will kick it off. This will go back to Dennis Johnson, who's had a busy day returning kicks. And another good return by Johnson. Steps out of bounds at the 40-yard line. And let's go back to that touchdown. Left side of that line
Well,
again.
they were talking about the left side, but this is the guy I want you to watch. He's going to come from the right side. Let's give him some credit. Marlon Davis is going to pull around and get the block on the linebacker. You see the double team by the 2 big fellas, and there's Marlon Davis get that block on the linebacker, and Coffey's right in behind him for the big run and the touchdown. And the big fellas, they don't get in the end zone, but this is what they do. That's a big vertical right there from Antoine, too. Antoine Caldwell, good job by those guys up front. They've played extremely well.
Miscommunication in the backfield, and it cost Arkansas as Smith will lose 3, maybe 4 on the play. Fanny with yet another tackle. That's number 7 for Fanny. He's a guy 6'4", 255, and you mentioned he can, put a hand down the ground, get up in the front, also play some backer. I mean, that's some pretty good size. Dante Hightower at 250, McClain at 250. I mean, they've got some size there.
Well, and now you know why, and we see it here as it unfolds in front of us, why people can't get in the end zone against this defensive front. They're extremely strong and big, but they can run to the football.
Casey Dick with the middle pass is caught by DJ Williams at the 45-yard line. Justin Woodall and Dante Hightower combine on the stop.
Well, and if you're Arkansas, Dave, you just got to continue to, Coach Petrino, you start scratching your head, what can I call it? We don't throw it to the other team, but you start trying, you just got to get back to your game plan. You forget the score at this point. Got a young football team. Just continue to get guys involved, find out what guys can do, get the ball in their hands.
That pass is batted down at the last minute. Looking for Lucas Miller, but Javier Arenas, who is, as he will tell you, I'm a defensive back who returns punts, is showing us that he has got a complete game going.
Well, Dave, it's too easy a route to cover. Miller gives no stick at the top of the route to kind of freeze Javier Arenas' feet. So Javier Arenas just rolls out with the route. He's right in front to knock it away. If he had been a step quicker, we'd probably been talking about Arenas taking another one back for a touchdown.
Arenas back to return the punt. He stands at the 15-yard line. And Arenas will let it bounce, and a good punt. It sails out of bounds at the 5.5-yard line. Good kick by Jeremy Davis. 50 yards on that punt, and Alabama will be backed up when we come back. Go to Yahoo Sports to see over 50 Raycom Sports SEC football and basketball games, and for only $4.95 a month, you can hear thousands of audio broadcasts. Be sure and follow your team all season long at Yahoo Sports. So Alabama backed up at the 6-yard line. Glenn Coffey has had a couple of big plays today, and speaking of big plays, this has been the story for Alabama today, and here was the first one. Glenn Coffey takes it the distance. And then the touchdown to Julio Jones, which gave John Parker Wilson the all-time record at Alabama, and then Glenn Coffey with a 31-yard touchdown run.
And Dave, the constant in all 3 of those plays were offensive line play. Good protection for John Parker Wilson on the touchdown throw and the runs by Coffey.
87 and 31 for Glenn. He will pick up the first down, 2 carries and a dozen yards on this possession so far. Jerry Franklin with the tackle for the Razorbacks.
We talked about coming into the season that we were going to see some outstanding offensive line play across the SEC, and there's a number of good offensive lines. This one right here is right near the top of the SEC as far as running the football, protecting their passer, veteran group up front. Really the backbone of their team.
Stover comes in motion, will settle in. There's Coffey, nothing happening on that play. Antoine Robinson comes flying in to trip him up alongside Jerry Franklin. You know, Alabama's season, Dave, just kind of went south in a hurry last year, and of course they had some success in the bowl game, but I think a lot of people wondering how this group would come out. So many questions when they opened the season at the Georgia Dome against Clemson. And from, I guess, a confidence standpoint, I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better scenario to evolve. All the way around for the Tide. John Parker Wilson. Pass is caught by Earl Alexander. I mean, we'll never know. You can't really put a value on it. You can't measure it. But I got to think that game did more for Alabama football than anything that's happened since Nick Saban's been there.
I would agree with you. I think you talk about confidence, and I think that's the big word. I don't know that this staff for Alabama, they knew they had great football players because the recruiting class they had coming in, but they didn't know what was going to happen when the lights came on, and they shone brightly as a group of young players. And once that game was over, then they realized, hey, we've got something special.
Terry Grant getting his first action of the afternoon in at tailback. He will protect for John Parker Wilson as he's dropped back at the 20-yard line. Franklin and Jericho Nelson combine on the sack.
Another one of those true freshmen, Jericho Nelson, number 31. He's a guy they like to come with pressure. Does a good job of just running through the block of the back and getting around John Parker Wilson. Good pressure look that time by Arkansas. Willie Robinson's tried to dial up some pressures, but he has had a tough time getting them in situations where he could call on them.
Seventh play for the Tide right here. Gain of a couple. That'll bring up a 3rd down and long. Let's take a look at our Hampton Hotels upcoming schedule for Alabama, and it is Georgia next week. They go from Fayetteville to Athens. Back-to-back road test for Nick Saban's club. Georgia, of course, tonight out in Arizona, taking on Arizona State.
Now, anytime you look up and down a team in the SEC schedule, it doesn't get any easier the next week.
A lot of people also pointing to that Alabama at LSU contest later in the year. Big hit by Jamar Love as Terry Grant holds on to the football, but Love steps up, the senior out of North Little Rock, Arkansas, with 4 tackles today and a pass broken up.
It's the first chance we've had a chance to see Terry Grant, who led this team in rushing last year. Terry's a smallish back, really good in space, but you've got to be given an opportunity to catch it and turn upfield. And a great job by Jamar Love to close from the corner spot to blow up the screen.
DJ Fitzgerald to punt it away. His first punt went 34 yards. Norton back to return the punt. He stands at the Hog 40-yard line.
Oh yeah! Here we go, let's go!
Good spiral kick, fair catch called for, and taken at the 36-yard line. Alabama in control, 42-7 on the road. We will return after a word from your local stations. Over at the 36-yard line, Casey Dick in at quarterback. As the Hog fans still calling the Hogs here at Reynolds Razorback Stadium. Casey Dick is hit, bounces off the tackle, and will run out of bounds. Boy, he is under the gun in a hurry.
Well, this is one where the Razorback offensive front did a poor job. Wade gets beat to the inside. Wade Grayson gets beat to the inside by Luther Davis. A good job by Casey Dick to play off the hit, get something out of the play.
See our Academy Sports down and distance marker telling you it's 2nd down and 9. No flag, incomplete. Looking for Carlton Salters, the sophomore out of Tallahassee, Florida.
Rashad Johnson breaking on the ball. There's one of your top defensive backs in the SEC right there. Had a great year last year, 6 interceptions, led the team in tackles. Walked onto this team and
has already graduated with a degree in criminal justice. Everything that's right about college football is right there in that young man, wrapped up in number 49.
Got that right.
Flag on that near sideline. And another flag thrown.
Well, Arkansas has taken exception to the fact there was not a flag on the pass play. They thought it was interference, and now you're going to get some unsportsmanlike stuff on the sideline.
We have 2 fouls, dead ball, delay of game for sideline interference on the Arkansas sideline. Dead ball, delay of game, sideline interference on the Arkansas sideline. That is the only 2 warnings they'll receive. The next foul will result in an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
You know, that's one of the new things they've instituted this year, and the fact that you know, there's no, quote, official warning. You'll be penalized immediately as you look at our Suzuki scores. You know, officials on the sideline, the line judges, side judges, field judges that are close to the sideline are going to tell coaches, hey, get up, back up a little bit, guys. Come on, none of this. But they're not going to stop the game and warn them officially. The first time they throw a flag, it's a 5-yard penalty, and you get 2 of those. And then, as you heard Matt Austin say, then it becomes a 15-yard penalty. But don't think they haven't been warned before the flag came. Yeah.
Hey, casually say, hey, coach, can you move back a little bit?
His pass is caught by Michael Smith, and then he is lit up by Prince Hall, who got in late in the first half. Of course, Prince saw his first action of the year last week at linebacker, and they can get him going. Whew. Big hit by Prince Hall, the 235-pound junior.
He's a tremendous athlete. Reads and runs extremely well.
Obviously not well enough for Kirby Smart or Nick Saban over there.
I want that ball to come out next time you hit it.
Good kick by Jeremy Davis. Back to Arenas, who lets it bounce. It's a loose ball, and I believe Javier came back to recover it. Boy, that was a big collision for that loose football.
Yeah, Lucas Miller, Arkansas wide receiver playing on special teams, trying to get down. You see head-to-head contact between him and Arenas as he tries to get down and make the play.
Well, this football season, it's all about you, 10 friends, and a private jet. Enter the Alltel My Circle Gridiron Getaway for your chance to take 10 friends on a private jet to any regular season game, the ultimate VIP experience. For your chance to win, text GAME, G-A-M-E, to 57533 or visit alltelfootball.com. Well, we have got some great games coming up later today in this league. Tennessee, Florida, Auburn, LSU, Georgia out of Arizona State. John Parker Wilson is completely lit up back at the 10-yard line. He got sandwiched and is not happy about it. Antoine Robinson from his defensive end position really able to put his full pads on John Parker.
I think he said a few things right there. There's a little extra comment as he shoved the face mask up on the quarterback. And I don't know what it is about defensive linemen. They like to do that, drag the face mask up your face, and then your chin strap goes up over your nose.
You say that from experience? Did you catch a few face masks in your day?
I had a few times laying on my back.
I can't tell. I can't tell. Terry Grant off the left side. Let's go down to Dave Baker.
You know, Dave, we talked a lot today about the youth of these teams. Alabama with the fewest scholarship seniors in the country with 9. And because of the talent, Nick Saban knew that this could be a special team. And because of that, he went to great lengths in the offseason to bring in a variety of coaches and motivational speakers. He's really tried to develop leadership from within this team and encourage the young guys to be leaders as well. And, Dave, I think it shows in the performance that they've had. Even though they've had some trouble defensively, they've maintained that consistent intensity.
I think that's something Bobby Petrino's trying to maintain on his side. John Parker Wilson. Pass is caught out over the first down line by Nick Walker, and a flag comes in the backfield.
Well, that was a late one, too. It came from the umpire, who generally is looking for holding.
Crowd looking for anything to cheer at this point, down 42-7.
Holding. Offense number 59. 5-yard penalty. Or excuse me, correction, 10-yard penalty. Repeat third down.
That is the first penalty today against Alabama. And it goes against Antoine Caldwell, who's had 37 career starts.
I think that's why you got the cheer from the crowd. They've done a great job. There's Antoine Caldwell right here in the middle, blocking. See, grab the pad. As soon as you get on the edge, as a defensive lineman, what they're looking for is that hand come up and grab. And you mentioned, Dave, the first time they've been marched off with a penalty.
John Parker Wilson scrambling. Flag down, and he'll have to throw it away. And another flag comes in as he gets run into the end zone by Jake Beckett, the freshman out of Little Rock, Arkansas. Getting a little chippy out here.
It's an Arkansas defensive front that has not gotten around John Parker Wilson very much today. And Beckett pushes the quarterback after the ball gets turned loose.
Guys are still talking down there.
Well, Matt Austin made the call. I don't know what the conversation's about. He was right there on the play.
There's one on the near sideline, too.
We have 2 fouls on the play. Personal foul, hands to the face, number 79 offense. Personal foul, roughing the passer, 91 defense. Those penalties offset, third down.
You see big Drew Davis was working on the right side. That was Andre Davis on the left side. You saw the helmet fly off. They called it on Drew Davis, the right side tackle, for hands to the face. And it has not been the kind of day Coach Petrino's going to be able to go home, enjoy his dinner, and go to bed tonight without thinking about.
3rd and 15. Play clock already down to 3. They get the snap off. Set up a little screen to Terry Grant. Terry run out of bounds shy of the 20-yard line by Jamar Love, and that'll bring up a 4th down situation. So Arkansas's defense stops the Tide with 5:07 to go here in the 3rd quarter. John Parker Wilson has taken a few hits today. His numbers just 5 of 11 for 66 yards, but you got to put that in perspective. This is an offense that in terms of total plays, they've only been out there 31 plays versus 54 for the Hogs. P.J. Fitzgerald to punt it away. Good kick by Fitzgerald. Norton will field it at the 38 and then stumbles out to the 40-yard line. Well, all season long, Champion Apparel will be showcasing the tradition and history of the SEC. And today we talk about something that, well, brings Razorback fans to their feet. The Hog Call has been a part of Razorback history for some time now, and is truly one of the more unique traditions in all of college sports. And that's our champion, How You Play. Now, of course, Dave, you know, proper execution is 3 calls.
Yeah. Third time we end it with Razorback.
There you go. You're a good man.
I watched it a little bit as a kid.
First down catch into Alabama territory by Jarius Wright. Bobby Petrino telling us that he's been waiting for Jarius Wright. Things just haven't happened. But he thinks Jarius Wright's another one of those young, talented receivers that can make a big impact. But his second catch of the young season.
Yeah, Dave, I think that's really what this second half is about for Arkansas, is finding those guys and getting the ball to them against a big-time defense and see what they can do. Do they step up to the task of playing SEC football? I think that's really what they're trying to get done offensively here for the rest of the afternoon.
Not much happening there. Michael Smith with the carry, brought down by Courtney Upshaw. Look at Casey Dick, back-to-back 300-yard games. Matter of fact, against Louisiana Monroe a couple of weeks ago, it's the first time Arkansas has ever had a 300-yard passer, a 100-yard rusher, and a 100-yard receiver. They've been playing football here for 115 years. I thought McFadden might have been able to pull that off by himself last year.
He almost did.
Yeah. Casey Dick fires over the middle. That pass batted away by Justin Woodall.
Well, we talked about, Dave, that Casey Dick was going to have to play extremely high level today. This was the mistake, I think, by the receiver, but still it goes to the quarterback, and this one was on Casey. He's trying to throw the ball away, ended up for a touchdown, and 2 interceptions for touchdowns, and that's going to break your back every time. He's had a tough road today, but he has had a good start to the season. He's only in his 3rd game his senior year. I would think he would bounce back and play extremely well the rest of the year for him.
And Casey Dick will throw that one into the Arkansas bench area. One other tidbit about the first couple of games of Casey Dick in his 300-yard passing games. They've only had 11 of those in the history of this school. Think about that for a minute. And 2 of them have come by Casey Dick.
Well, it's obviously a place that has not featured the passing game. When you go back in the annals of Arkansas quarterbacks, Clint Sterner comes to mind, and Matt Jones recently. But of course, the great Joe Ferguson played in the NFL for many years, played quarterback here in the early 70s. Had a great one, and Bill Montgomery played here in the late 60s, but they just didn't throw it that much, Dave.
End over end kick that will hit at the 5 and bounce into the end zone. Well, Geico is canvassing the country this year to get the fans' input on all the best moments of the 2008 football season. For tour updates, tour schedules, and your chance to take the Geico Best of 2008 fan poll, check out bestofcollegesports.com. Alabama will bring it out to the 20-yard line. Nick Saban still pacing the sidelines. They were up 35-7 at halftime, and he told Dave Baker that, he wasn't too pleased with the defense. They felt they lost their edge a little bit, lost their focus. Always trying to play that perfect game. I don't know if you ever get there, though, do you?
No, you strive for it, but you know it's going to be there. It's never going to be there, but you strive to be perfect.
Terry Grant picks up about 9 on first down.
Get Terry Grant getting in behind that left side. Big Andre Smith, Mike Johnson, Antoine Caldwell. Boy, they do such a great job on that one side of the line.
Terry Grant getting plenty of work here. Last year's leading rusher on this team, 891 yards, 8 touchdowns. He'll pick up the first down. Those 8 touchdowns, a school record by a freshman. But Mark Ingram already with 4. Might have a chance to surpass that number before this year is out. Go to RayComSports.com for a variety of SEC football highlights and features, archived videos, sweepstakes, podcast, and information on our SEC Game of the Week. RayComSports.com, your link on the web to the SEC. Nick Walker in motion. Here's Terry Grant. Malcolm Shepard with the stop. Malcolm, defensive tackle out of Bainbridge, Georgia.
Well, I would think that this defensive front, a lot of young people on the defensive front that rotate in, a couple juniors, a couple freshmen. Malcolm Shepard, of course, is a junior. Those guys are learning a little bit about what they need to do defensively to try to stop a potent attack and a great offensive line.
Second down and 8. John Parker Wilson, pass incomplete. Nikita Stover slips on his cut back to the football. You know, I think Nick Saban's trying to get his first team offense out here. Get some rhythm with John Parker. You know, John Parker 6 out of 13 for 74 yards. He knows against Georgia next week they're going to need everything, every bullet they have. And
well, you mentioned, Dave, they're striving for perfection, and you're exactly right. He wants to get something feel good, and you'll see some of these players leave the game. They'll be out of the game, but he just doesn't feel that way. You heard him coming off the field at halftime. There was little things that were bothering him. They were ahead 35-7. You know, so he's a stickler for everything going just right.
Last 3 drives have accumulated just 21 yards for Alabama. Pass is bobbled and incomplete. And that's one of those things that will get to the coach.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at what this Alabama team has done and things that are going to bother Coach Saban is probably one of the first things he'll bring up is his kick coverage unit wasn't very good. You know, they did a good job returning kicks. That's just what he does. That's why this team is, with these young players, going to be really good.
So Fitzgerald will come back in to punt for Alabama. 3 punts with a 41.3 average to this point. Norton stands back at the 25. Good kick, fair catch called for and taken at the 18-yard line. Don't forget, next Saturday we will head down to the Swamp as Ole Miss takes on Florida. The Gators, behind Heisman Trophy winner Tim Tebow, have their sights set on a national title, while first-year Ole Miss head coach Houston Nutt looks at his new quarterback Jevan Snead to lead his offense. So plan on joining us Saturday, 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central. And log on to SECRoadTripPlanner.com and find the quickest routes and all the info you need traveling around the SEC, provided by Regions Bank. Of course, Florida and Tennessee later. Vandy at Ole Miss. Casey Dick with plenty of time. The throw on the run. Pass is caught by Greg Childs. Another one of those true freshmen out of Warren, Arkansas. Marquise Johnson will pick up the stop for Alabama, his 5th tackle of the afternoon.
Alabama's doing a really good job, Dave, of covering down the field. It's good protection. You see Cody double teamed there, trying to push back, but really is no factor in the pass rush there. But the coverage downfield for Alabama has been outstanding today. That time Casey Dick scrambles and provides himself a little more time to find his target.
Casey Dick will swing it. The pass was batted in the air by Courtney Upshaw. It'll go incomplete. Alabama able to run in this, you know, with this 3-4 that they're running, I don't know, 50, 60% of the time now. You know, they're running in, as I look at my board here, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11 linebackers.
Yeah.
They've got a pretty good rotation going.
And another one of the freshmen you just mentioned, Courtney Upshaw, a freshman out of Eufaula High School in Alabama, another kid that's just trying to get on the field and play. They've got a ton of them.
Off the left side, Anthony Curtis. It's not close to the 40-yard line. You know, Nick Saban's philosophy here in year 2 is, and I'm sure this may change in due time, maybe not, but if you can play, you're going to play. You know, I mean, it's not, we're not going to give you a red shirt. Right now, we need you. If you can contribute, you're going to play.
We had a chance to talk to Nick, and we asked him, well, you know, how do you decide who gets the time? He says, I play the best players.
It was pretty cut and dry. Yeah.
It didn't matter whether you're a freshman or a senior, you're going to play.
You can see our Academy Sports down and distance marker. And a huge hit, Justin Woodall on DJ Williams, but DJ held on to the football.
These linebackers for Alabama are well schooled in looking up those crossing routes. They knew that Arkansas wanted to feature that. And Woodall just stayed at home and dropped the shoulder on DJ Williams.
Woodall with 5 tackles. That'll do it for the end of the third quarter. Alabama still in control at 42-7. 15 more minutes to play from the Ozarks here in Fayetteville, Arkansas. It is an absolutely picturesque day here in the Ozark Mountains, but it's picturesque even more so for Alabama. 42-7. Out in front as we begin the fourth quarter. Casey Dick still in at quarterback. Hand off goes to DeAnthony Curtis. Nothing happening there. Big Terrence Cody dancing around. Take a look at our Raycom Sports stats through 3 quarters. Rushing yards 228 to 91. Now remember, coming in, Alabama defensively had allowed just a total of 128 yards rushing on 68 attempts through 3 games. But it's those 3 turnovers that have been devastating, all 3 resulting in touchdowns. 2 by interception returns, and then a couple plays after an interception, Lynn Coffey goes 31 yards for a touchdown. Incomplete. Casey Dick now 20 out of 38 for 190.
And one thing I've noticed about Casey Dick in this game is he got a little flustered early in the game. They weren't able to get anything going. And he's locked on to some of his receivers. His eyes staying on receivers. That time he wanted the deep in route, and he looked it up a little bit too much. Chris Gregg was dragging across the middle, and Rashad Johnson was on the prowl from the safety spot.
So third down and 10. Trying to set up a screen. That didn't work.
That's a good play by Luther Davis, who kind of reaches out and grabs the back. They wanted a screen. Luther Davis is 96. Watch him grab the back right there. Kind of got away with a little grab and hold there. Kind of stunted the play. And Casey couldn't hold on to the ball. He had to get rid of it. So credit Luther Davis for kind of blowing up that play.
So fourth down and a punting situation. Jeremy Davis back to Mays, dancing around and tripped up at the 22-yard line. Look at historic Dixon Street. Runs up on this campus where Alabama leads at 42-7. The announcers for this game are selected and compensated by Raycom Sports. This broadcast is a copyright presentation. Any use of this broadcast without the express permission of the Southeastern Conference and Raycom Sports is prohibited. 14 minutes to go in a 42-7 game as Roy Upchurch is in, as well as Greg McElroy, a sophomore out of Southlake, Texas. 6'2", 220 pounds, as John Parker Wilson will call it an afternoon. We listen to some of the coaches at Alabama. They really like the way McElroy understands the game. Got a good head on his shoulders in terms of running an offense. That handoff to Upchurch. Upchurch, a junior out of Tallahassee, Florida. McElroy, 4 out of 6, 61 yards this season. First and 10 line brought to you by IKBI Incorporated. Igby, building vision, building relationships.
Well, he's just a sophomore, Dave, and he's a guy that's going to factor in big when it comes to deciding who plays quarterback at Alabama next year. Certainly getting some playing time this season is going to help his efforts to be the guy next year.
And is that picked off? Yes, it is. The first turnover by the Arkansas defense. Ramon Broadway comes up with the interception. Arkansas was the only team, along with Rutgers, without a turnover this year until this moment.
Well, this, however, will not get you back on the field in a lot of instances. He throws the ball late to Mays, and a good job of breaking on it by Broadway.
McElroy checks in and throws it away. And Tyler Wilson comes in at quarterback now for Arkansas. And his first pass to Michael Smith is complete. Tyler, the true freshman out of Greenwood, Arkansas, 6'2", 180 pounds. Looks like Josh Chapman slow to get up for Alabama. The 305-pounder, a sophomore out of Hoover, Alabama, rotates in there with Terrence Cody at the nose. Basically, the rotation for those guys is 5 plays for Cody, and then Chapman will come in for 1 or 2 plays, and they'll rotate back and forth like that.
Well, another big fella in the middle. He does a good job of coming in when he gets his opportunity. He's 310 pounds. Cody, of course, they're not sure where he is.
We know somewhere between 365 and 380, somewhere in there. And Coach Saban said about that is, you know, he'd like him to be around 365, but they're going to monitor it just based on how he plays. If he's still moving around pretty good, they'll be okay with his weight. There's Smith. Smith's had a nice afternoon. 18 carries. Close it in on 90 yards.
That's an Arkansas Razorback.
That'll be a first down for Arkansas, just inside the 15-yard line. That pass low from Tyler Wilson. How about Tyler playing some high school ball a year ago, and now here he is playing in Reynolds Razorback Stadium against the Crimson Tide. Take a look at this red zone powered by Honda Generators for the ultimate tailgating experience. Defensively for Alabama this season, opponents have been in this red zone 6 times. They have only produced 1 touchdown. That's pretty impressive. Here's Smith. Down to the 10-yard line. That'll bring up a 3rd down and 5.5. Mark Barron, a true freshman out of Mobile. Boy, we have said that a ton today. True freshman out of such and such. You look at Arkansas inside the red zone, which is powered by Honda Generators for the ultimate tailgating experience.
They just hadn't had a lot of opportunity. Let's see if their freshman quarterback can put one in for him here.
Here's Wilson, has time, fires, incomplete. Looking for Carlton Salters. And that'll bring up a 4th down, and I think at 42-7. Throw caution to the wind and go for it.
Well, this is a young man that threw 93 touchdown passes as a high schooler, and this one he tried to force it in there to Salters. But they're really excited about this kid. They think he's going to have a chance. Of course, Ryan Mallett transferred from Michigan. He has to sit out this year, and this young man, Wilson, are going to have a nice battle at quarterback next year for Arkansas and Bobby Petrino.
So on 4th down, pressure comes. Wilson sees it, lofts it up. His first career touchdown on 4th down goes to Michael Smith. Nice patience from the true freshman quarterback out of Greenwood, Arkansas.
Did a good job of skating out of the pocket and going to his right. Courtney Upshaw with the pressure is going to push him right. And now the linebacker drops coverage. Chavis Williams drops coverage. A good job of the quarterback to buy time, pull the defender to him, and dump it over his head for the touchdown. Looked like he played a lot right there, Dave.
Flags are down. They will wave off that point after attempt.
Illegal substitution on the defense. 12 men on the field. Penalties declined. We'll have the try.
See Alex Tejada lining it up. Alex 0 for 2. A couple of missed field goals. Missed a point after. Shea Haddock come in to kind of rescue them 2 weeks ago. But the last 10 days, Alex Tejada has won the job back for the time being. Crimson Tide started the year 24, number 25, depending on what poll you were looking at. But this is a group that has cracked the top 10 this week, and they have looked every bit the part to this point. Marquise Mays on the return. He's out to the 37-yard line. Arkansas' second touchdown. The story looks like this as we look at our Texas Pete scoring summary. 6 plays, 34 yards. It was a 4th down pass from Tyler Wilson to Michael Smith.
Well, that's what turnovers do for you, Dave. We've seen what they've done for Alabama. 2 of those interceptions returned for touchdowns. Arkansas gets a turnover and they immediately cash it in for points. That's why it's such a sudden change. And Arkansas just has not produced any. That was their first turnover of the year and just have not gotten enough of that.
McElroy back in at quarterback. Here goes Roy Upchurch to the 20, to the 10. Touchdown, Alabama. 62 yards. Untouched for 62 yards.
The 2 long runs Alabama has had have been cutbacks, which means Arkansas is not fitting against the run backside well enough. They're not taking away the cutback, and that's where both big runs, Coffey's 87-yarder and here the long one by Upchurch, have been cutback runs. And that's just a matter of not being where you're supposed to be on defense. And a great job of Upchurch finding the sideline and the great speed to put it in the end zone.
Lee Tiffin has been a busy man. He has 7 out of 7 in point afters. Big plays have been the story today for Alabama. Closed captioning is provided by Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich.
What's your favorite?
Another pooch kick. This one down to the 20. Taken by Elton Ford. Good coverage by Alabama. That's one area I think that will be examined is their kick coverage.
Dave, I mentioned on these runs, these long runs, it's the cutback. And Arkansas, go ahead and roll it, guys. Arkansas has to fit. And when I say fit defensively, each man, let's freeze it right here now, guys. Each guy has a gap responsibility. You see, Arkansas's got nobody in the backside cutback lane gap. And there's the block on the safety, and Upchurch just outruns everybody else. That's just poor gap control by the Razorbacks on the backside of the running play. And once you get an Alabama rusher out on the edge, you can see the speed.
Here's Tyler Wilson. Pass is caught by Dennis Johnson. Bouncing around, working hard out to the 38-yard line. Let's go check in with Dave Baker.
Hey, Dave, you know, a lot of similarities on these 2 sidelines. You know, Bobby Petrino, rightly or wrongly, you know, he was vilified by a lot of the media folks last year. But, you know, everything he went through in Atlanta, I think, and Arch obviously covers the Falcons and can see this. I've seen a real change in him. You know, during all this here on the sidelines today, he's been very much the teacher kind of guy. He knows what the process is going to be, and I think he's more mature now in terms of going through it. He hadn't said anything bad about the Falcons or any other situation, and I think he's got a real blueprint across the field, Arch, and what Nick Saban has done, because there was a lot of emotion when he left Miami. Obviously, a lot of anticipation, lots of expectations when he came to Alabama, and now you see what's happened in year 2 with Alabama. And so I think there are a lot of similarities there.
Well, he's a hard-nosed guy like Nick Saban, and one thing you find out about the National Football League, and Saban found this out when you go to Miami, it's not your program, it's our program in the NFL, and you got guys that are getting paid for a living but you got to treat him with a little bit different flair than you treat a young kid coming up off the streets in college. And so it was a learning experience, no question.
How about that interception from Chris Rogers back at the 35-yard line? He elevated and grabbed it right out of the air. The 4th interception by Arkansas today.
Well, Wilson's trying to stick it down the sideline. It's a very difficult throw. Good job by the corner, Rogers, to fall off and make the play. One-handed stab. Well, that's a big-time play right there.
There's the turnover story. Arkansas has thrown it away 4 times.
Well, that's a tough throw right there. And again, a learning process for a young quarterback, is that's the tough one to stick in that fade route with safety help over top of the corner.
Won't get any easier for Arkansas. You look at the Hampton upcoming schedule for this Razorback team. Their next 4 games, they have never played a stretch like this in the history of this program. 4 top 10 teams. It's at Texas, then here against Florida, and then at Auburn.
Yeah, they've got the hated Longhorns next week, and that's a rivalry that dates way back to when Arkansas was in the Southwest Conference. But they've got to go to Austin. And that will not be an easy matchup with the Longhorns.
2nd down and 13. They could set a 3rd down and 14.
And that was a game, Dave, that was actually scheduled for last week. That got moved because of Hurricane Ike. Good job up front. And got moved to next week. They had hoped that maybe play Texas before they played Alabama, because of course the defensive coordinator at Texas, Will Musgrave, or Muschamp. Jeez, I'm having a great time with the names today, aren't I? Will Muschamp, who I know real well. Thanks, sorry, Will.
Yeah.
Muschamp moves from Auburn to Texas to take over that group. Of course, his mentor was Nick Saban.
And you know, it was interesting listening to Bobby Petrino talk to us about getting prepared, and that there's a lot of similarities when they were getting prepared for Texas. A lot of what Texas does defensively is a lot of what Alabama does, obviously, because of that relationship between Muschamp and Nick Saban. So the Tide will punt it away again. So Norton will stand at the 20-yard line, looking to return this. Good kick. Norton sidesteps a couple of defenders. Crowd wanted a face mask, but no flag. A 55-yard punt. Alabama's defense has been pretty good today. It's been a stout bunch.
Well, they came in knowing this defense just doesn't allow anybody to get in the end zone. 7.7 points per game, but they've been sticking Razorbacks on every angle. They scored twice defensively, and they keep people out of the end zone. Big Mount Cody, number 62, helped Rolando McClain make the stop there to keep Arkansas out of the end zone right before the half. We talked about Nick Saban, and I think his middle name is defense. Kevin Steele, his defensive coordinator. They really got it done today.
Kirby Smart, the defensive coordinator. They got all kinds of names over there. They got all kinds of labels over there. You got the defensive head coach and Kevin Steele. You got the defensive coordinator and Kirby Smart. Of course, you got the head coach over there, Nick Saban,
who's a defensive guy. A lot of defensive people on that side, Buzz.
Hey, Arch, the toughest thing I think Nick Saban's going to have a time with now is he's always talked about managing expectations. They're always high at Alabama, rightfully so. But with a win like this, and then you look at next week, size huge against Georgia, that may be his toughest task this week. Would you agree?
Well, I think there's no question that the Bulldogs are going to be a big test for him, but there's also Saban has his expectation levels are far exceed anybody at Alabama or anybody around the Alabama program. So if he reaches his expectation level, they'll be fine.
How about this hit, Arch, from Mark Barron, the true freshman out of Mobile.
It's one of those deals where Coach Petrino's going to be sitting in the film room and he's going to say, okay, Tyler, this is a safety blitz off the edge. When you have a side adjustment for that, you're going to need to get rid of the ball a little quicker.
But I just look at the size. Look at a guy like Mark Barron, 6'2", 215 as a true freshman. I mean, physically, how gifted is that young man?
They're all over the field today.
Yes.
Five-yard penalty. Still third down.
I think the corner blitz still kind of shaking him up a little bit.
Yeah, well, it tends to do that to you, especially when you've never seen it before.
At that speed,
you
right.
talk about the young guys on both sides of the ball here, or both sidelines, Dave, and it says a lot about both staffs for these teams to be able to recruit these kind of kids. Great football players, obviously good students, good kids for their program, but you don't like to look down the road, but you kind of say, well, wait a couple of years on these guys.
Set up a little screen to Dennis Johnson. He gets it out over the 10. How about, by the way, we just saw the scores of the Suzuki scoreboard. NC State comes back to beat East Carolina in overtime. Big win for the Wolfpack and a tough loss for Skip Holtz and his Pirates.
Coach Petrino coaching. Again, Joe Adams. Joe wasn't where he's supposed to be on that screen, who he was supposed to block. And really, that's what Coach Petrino's got to do right now. Is he's just got to continue to coach and get these young kids ready for next week.
Marquise Mays fumbles it out of bounds. Time for our Chick-fil-A nugget of the game. And when you look at college coaches who have had 4 years of experience as a head coach at this level, Bobby Petrino ranks #2 behind Pete Carroll in winning percentage.
Well, he had a great run with his 06 team in Louisville, team that got as high as #2 in the country, lost, of course, up in Piscataway, New Jersey to Rutgers, and probably was on its way to a national championship game and ended up having to go to the Rose Bowl.
Was that a Thursday,
Orange Bowl,
was that a Thursday night game?
That was
yeah,
Thursday night.
Remember, that was a crazy atmosphere up in Rutgers, New Jersey. Here's Upchurch. Boy, I tell you what, you want to talk about a good problem to have? This running back situation at Alabama is with Coffee, Ingram, Grant, and Upchurch. There is some talent at that position right now.
Boy, there really has been, or there really is. And Terry Grant, who led this team in rushing last year, we haven't seen much of him. He's kind of a situational guy now because the other three are a little bit bigger guys, can carry the ball between the tackles a little bit more, hold up on the pounding.
How about Alabama? 296 yards on the ground today. Chris Underwood in motion, the tight end, as that handoff doesn't get much for Upchurch.
Well, Dave, when you talk about those kind of numbers on the ground, obviously you look at the skill guys, the guys carrying it, but we've mentioned it a number of times. The big fellas up front, the group that started, Andre Smith, Mike Johnson, Antoine Caldwell, Marlon Davis, Drew Davis. Tremendous offensive line. One of the best groups in the country.
Look at the size. Got guys, you know, we talk about 330 or 300 or 305, but if you can't move, it doesn't do you much good.
Right.
Here's Upchurch dancing around. That'll be a first down inside the 30 for Roy.
Hey, these backs are so good at what you call pressing the hole. In other words, pushing the front side and sliding to daylight. Again, another cutback by an Alabama runner for a big gain. Do a good job in that zone blocking scheme of coming off, pushing at the front side where the play's supposed to go, and then allowing him to slide to daylight. We've seen 2 big runs for touchdowns, and they're another run to extend a drive.
Get your thoughts on what you think Nick Saban's going to walk out of the stadium feeling about his team as they get set to take on Georgia in Athens next week after the handoff to Terry Grant. He's hit at the line of scrimmage. But, you know, is Nick feeling good about his club right now, or as a game like this, has he seen enough to make him a little concerned about some areas?
Oh, I think he's going to always be concerned about areas. I think the kick coverage will be one. The kickoff coverage unit has been exposed a little bit today. I don't think he's necessarily extremely pleased with how the passing game went today, but when you run for 300 yards, that kind of skews the numbers a little bit. John Parker did a nice job of taking care of the ball, didn't throw the ball into harm's way because he had some pressure a number of times. I think he's got to feel good about his group on defense, though. They get after you, and when the ball's in their hands, they got it in the end zone.
Yeah, playmakers is a good way to describe that group. And, you know, you could even talk about some of the guys up front being playmakers as well.
Well, you mentioned the flexibility of some of their players. Fanny, one of those guys, but a number of guys that can move around and make plays.
Well, our principal financial players of the game, Glenn Coffey, 162 yards, a career-long touchdown run. Michael Smith, 19 carries, 91 yards for Arkansas. I was impressed with Michael Smith, 5'7", 175, 180-pound running back. Really, against a big, speedy defense, he did all he could do.
He really did. You know, he had a great game 2 weeks ago. Came in against this game and really didn't know what they were going to get against a real good Alabama defense. Michael Smith was solid.
So Grant carries and picks up the first down. Clock will stop momentarily to move the chains. With 35 seconds to go in this one. Saban, his club will run to 4-0. There's no question that this team is in the race for a chance to play in the Georgia Dome at the SEC championship game. Look at our red zone, powered by Honda generators for the ultimate tailgating experience. Alabama only been in the red zone one time today.
Well, when you score from outside the red zone,
when you're going 80 yards, right? When you're going 80 yards. So Nick Saban and company, 4-0. Bobby Petrino loses for the first time as head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks. The Hogs will fall to 2-1. 49-14, Alabama wins. Back in a moment. Ninth-ranked Alabama goes to 4-0 on the season. Arkansas goes to 2-1. The Tide win at 49-14, mainly behind an awesome running game today that goes 35 carries for 328 yards, 402 total yards of offense. We will come back, put a final word on this one. Stay with us on Raycom Sports.